I detained the female protagonist, Hovang Chaolan, to force her to turn black. Right away, I tortured her. Unexpectedly, she secretly climbed into my bed at night, used her tail to wrap tightly around me, saying, "This time it's my turn." The system suddenly emitted a shrill beep. Host, that is not the blackening value at all, but the excitement value. What is excitement value? I curiously asked the system in my head. The system seemed very worried and replied, "That is absolutely not the blackening value. She can't stand it anymore, The beep is almost here. I can't help but BP. If the host doesn't run away immediately, she'll lose her BP." Important parts were turned off so I couldn't understand anything. What are you talking about? Why is the sound blurred? Maybe because shouting is too tiring, the system was silent for a while before responding. Because the relevant law does not allow it. So why, as a noble host like me, can't you listen? The system was silent again. In the end, I only left one sentence and ran away. "Host, good luck to you. I don't care because I'm so used to it." As soon as I arrived in this world, the system told me that the least important male villain it forced was an unimportant character in this story. My mission is also very simple. I just need to father tan the female lead Lu Nuyen until she turns black. In the plot of this 2TN world, Lu Nuyen was originally a nine-tailed lake king, tall and Thuan. She is a peerless genius in the immortal cultivation world, with a high level of cultivation, a pure, cold heart, and nobility and worldliness like a fairy without the dust of the world. She is the flower that thousands of people love in the world. However, she was hated and harmed by others. After being seriously injured, she was captured by the evil pure demon family, and I was the eldest young master of this pure demon family. At the same time, I am also the evil male villain in the plot. I tried to tame Lu Nuyen and tortured her in every way possible, forcing her to completely turn black. I pulled this pure flower Chaolan out of the altar, humiliated her and turned her into a ragged doll that would never love again. Lu Nuyen will turn into a beautiful, strong and cruel demon, killing people without blinking an eye. Then, the handsome and kind male protagonist appeared, loved and hated each other, and finally saved her completely from the darkness. Now, my mission is almost complete. Aha, I'm amazing. Suddenly, I felt my ankle being tightened. I was in pain, kicked Lu Nuyen's tail away, and angrily scolded, "What are you doing? Who gave you permission to touch me?" Lu Nuyen looked at me with gloomy eyes, as if she wanted to eat me alive. She must have hated me to the core. I did very well. I grabbed Lu Nuyen's chin and forced her to look up. Her face is so beautiful that it drives people crazy. Lu Nuyen is truly worthy of being the female lead. Flawless with white hair and red eyes, a perfect delicate face, a cold aristocratic temperament and unparalleled elegance. Truly a fairy-like beauty. No matter how many times you look at this beautiful face, you will never get tired of it. But bullying the heroine so badly is my daily job. What are you looking at? I threatened viciously. If you look again, this young master will gouge out your eyes. Lu Nuyen's red eyes were still staring at me, as if burning. She's the female lead and I really can't gouge her eyes out. If she was disabled, there wouldn't be anything interesting anymore. But as a cruel man, can I not be her sister? I hooked Lu Nuyen's chin and rubbed my fingers along her smooth white cheeks to behind her ears. Attitude full of provocation and humiliation. Being humiliated by me like that, her white face immediately turned red, burning all the way to her ears. Lu Nuyen, a pure flower of the high mountains, how could she endure this? Sure enough, she pushed my hand away, looked at me fiercely, and said in a hoarse voice, "Ko no, you will regret it." I raised my head, looking dissatisfied. Aha, that's funny. What can you do to me? Lu Nuyen didn't let me touch her, but I wanted to touch her even more. So I played with her soft, furry tail again. The foxtails are stacked on top of each other, wrapping around the waist and back, very smooth and soft. Thinking that I might not be able to play with it anymore, I just wanted to bury my head in it. Lu Nuyen suddenly grabbed my wrist and yanked it away. His face became more and more red. I guessed that today's mission was probably almost done, so I snorted coldly. "You're so naughty today, you can't sleep on the bed as punishment." When Lu Nuyen was captured, she was locked in a large cage. The snow-white clothes were stained with blood. The noble and cold appearance of the past has now become a ruined image, with nothing left. As expected, beauties injured in battle always have a unique flavor. But I can't stand it. I felt dizzy and really couldn't bear to see the other goons making this place full of blood and gore. It was so red it made my eyes dizzy, and the fishy smell almost made me vomit. After capturing Lu Nuyen, according to the plot, I threw her into Nanhoa Lake and soaked her for 3 days and 3 nights. The system kept reminding in his mind, "Host, you must try to tame this stubborn female protagonist, break her body, torture her to the point of breaking out, humiliate her in all kinds of ways, destroy her spirituality, that's the only way." Turned her completely black when the system said it gave me all sorts of things like whips, nails, and other torture tools. I quickly waved my hand. No. Is this her Tan's father or my Tan's father? The system still babbles non-stop. I said angrily, "Don't we just need to turn her black?" "I have my own solution. I actually came up with a good idea. Lu Nuyen is a pure flower in the too immoral world, without a bit of dust. It seemed like anyone who got too close made her feel dirty, and she always shunned men. It seems like she's a bit obsessive-compulsive. The best way to torture such a person is to forcibly approach them, making them feel dirty and uncomfortable. I will definitely pick off this arrogant flower from the top, throw it to the ground and stomp on the mud, turning her into a rotten and despicable rag doll." So, I made an exquisite crystal necklace and wrapped it around her slender neck, transforming her from a noble immortal monarch into a servant under my hands. Nuyen was seriously injured, and before she could recover, she was controlled by a necklace. As soon as I tugged, the chain in her hand was dragged to the ground. She knelt down in shame, her face turned red with anger, and even her lips trembled slightly. According to the original story, she was brutally tortured for 3 months but still kept a cold face and refused to kneel down. But now, it only took me a few short days to do it. Seeing Nuyen's humiliated appearance, the system bowed to my excellent skills and was speechless. "I wish the host a successful mission," it said, and went offline. Haha. I am truly a genius. To mentally torture and defeat Nuyen, I held her close to my body and continuously humiliated her. Lu Nuyen usually wears neat white clothes and has an outstanding temperament. I made her wear red and green again, turning her enchanting appearance to dust. There are a variety of dresses in goose yellow and soft pink, as well as bright red olfactory dresses with high slits and sparkling golden bells at the legs. It must be said that Lu Nuyen is truly a stunning beauty. No matter what she wears, she is full of all kinds of charm. Looking at it made my mouth water. The alpine flower had fallen into the mud. Haha! How wonderful! I even forced her to eat my leftovers and used her tail as a pillow for my feet at night. I still have to turn into a fox to warm my bed. She hates being touched by others the most. She hates it so much that she refuses to pay attention to me. I immediately grabbed her fox ears and scolded, "You're just a dog I raised. Why are you acting so noble?" From the initial shame and humiliation, Nuyen gradually became paralyzed. Her beautiful eyes had lost their light. Now, Nuyen has completely accepted her fate and resigned herself to everything, making me very satisfied. This is not like in the story, where the female protagonist was torn into pieces and completely turned black. Then what? Although he looked very docile on the outside, he was actually frantically trying to get revenge on me and changing erratically. Find a reason and punish her. Don't sleep in bed tonight. So she just curled up next to my bed like a little dog. Before going to bed, I stretched out my legs to tease her, deliberately stepping on her soft, warm tail. Nuyen snorted softly, then grabbed my leg and coldly warned, "As the saying goes, you will regret it." Recently, she has become more and more harsh in her speech and has no rules at all. I immediately pushed her hand away. What a big mouth, it's just a little dog that I raised. How can it make me regret it? I reached out, slid my hand down the side of her neck, and patted her face. If I touch you, you should be grateful, you hear? Lu Nuyen's face turned red. She frowned and turned her head away, looking very miserable. I am even more satisfied. But unexpectedly, Nuyen grabbed my finger. The tip of his bright red tongue gently licked. That slippery feeling made my head explode. Startled, he stepped back and angrily asked, "What are you doing?" Lu Nuyen blushed even more, but rarely showed a cold smile. "Didn't you say I was your little dog? Of course dogs know how to lick." The arrogant flower, which was originally cold, smiled brightly and was extremely beautiful. But that smile made me panic, stammering speechless, Don't touch me, you evil dog. If you win, you can only sleep on the ground." I didn't sleep well. I woke up in the middle of the night from a nightmare. In the dream, a giant monster was pressing on me, making me unable to move. The monster stuck out its tongue and licked all over my body, even opening its mouth to bite me. It was about to eat me, but right before it was eaten, I was startled awake. While washing my face, I saw myself in the mirror. For some reason, there are some red marks on the neck. It turned out that last night I was bitten by insects all night long. Suddenly I became angry, pulling hard on the bracelet that was shining on Lu Nuyen. "Don't you have magic power to protect you from snakes, centipedes, and insects? Why didn't you help me avoid mosquitoes last night, leaving me with so many bites?" Lu Nuyen remained silent, her hot eyes staring at the scar on my neck. Surely he hates me very much. Just hate more to make her angrier. I tasted all the fruits and foods brought in today, then pushed them to Lu Nuyen. As the eldest young master of a demon-taming family, my daily food and drink are abundant and sumptuous. Normally I can't eat that much, so if I don't like anything or can't eat at all, I give it to Lu Nuyen. Most didn't touch it, but today, to punish and disgust her, I deliberately took a bite before giving it to her. This way, she had to endure my nausea and eat my saliva. Lu Nuyen was so humiliated by me that she no longer had the strength to resist, bowed her head, picked up the piece of fruit and opened her mouth. "Wait," I deliberately pointed to the place I had just bitten and ordered to start eating from there. Lu Nuyen could only silently turn the piece of fruit around and eat where I had bitten. I smirked and asked, "Boy, is my saliva delicious?" Lu Nuyen stared at me with bright red eyes and a very sweet, hoarse voice. When I heard this answer, I felt something was wrong, but couldn't say it. Lu Nuyen has almost turned black. She was about to take off the necklace and escape. According to the story, she has been recovering from her injuries for a long time and has now recovered most of her magic power. After quietly studying the terrain, Lu Nuyen will escape. He seriously injured me and then ran away. The time for the event has come, but Lu Nuyen still hasn't made a move. I feel extremely confused. Could it be that her magic power hasn't recovered yet? It's impossible. To make sure the story goes smoothly, I fed her fairy fruit and supplements every day, without missing a single meal. He often threw her into Ninghua Lake, which was known as the Holy Land of Healing. Compared to the original story, when she was tortured to the point that her whole body was covered in blood, her injuries were difficult to heal, and she had nothing to eat. Now the situation is much better. But in the original story, she could still recover, so why can't she now? I thought for a long time but didn't understand, so I went to the medicine furnace and took a handful of elixir and forced her to eat it. As soon as Lu Nuyen smelled the medicine, her face immediately changed. "Kogan, do you know what you are doing?" She must have thought I was poisoning myself. "Then just think like that," I said, directly grabbed the necklace, pulled Nuyen to kneel in front of her, then took a handful of tonic and stuffed it into her mouth. "I know, every day you pretend to be noble in front of me, making me bored. Take some medicine to calm down." I intentionally threatened her. "Only I can cure this medicine. If you dare to run away, you're dead." Lu Nuyen looked strange. "What is something that only you can solve?" As soon as Nuyen opened her mouth, I immediately stuffed a tube of medicine into her mouth. What else? Too much nonsense, let's drink. Lu Nuyen swallowed a bunch of pills and looked straight at me with eyes full of hatred, as if she wanted to tear me apart. Perhaps because the tonic was too strong, she quickly blushed and her whole body felt hot. I brushed my butt off, stood up and prepared to leave so she could adjust her breathing. But Nuyen's tail wrapped around my legs and pulled me down onto the bed. I shouted angrily, "Nuyen, what do you want to do? Are you planning to rebel?" Lu Nuyen didn't bother to respond, her whole hot body pressed against my back. Fingers clasped tightly together, hot breath blowing into my ear. The voices hoarse and seductive. "Didn't I just say that you would be my antidote? Why do you want to run away now?" I was bewildered. What antidote? This thing is completely non-poisonous. How can I be the antidote? I struggled desperately. Don't talk nonsense. What does this have to do with me, Nuyen? I order you to release me immediately. Lu Nuyen hugged me tightly, gritting her teeth. No, don't let go. At this moment, I was really scared. What if she bites me to death? The system said that pain outside the story cannot be mitigated. In desperation, I clicked the seal on the necklace around Lu Nuyen's neck. Immediately control her. Lu Nuyen cried out softly and fell onto the bed. I quickly pushed her away, confused, and said, "It's all your fault for not following the rules, that's why I did it." Lu Nuyen lies on the bed, her white hair is messy. The already thin clothes became even more disheveled, revealing her pale skin. Her face was red, her red eyes staring at me with hatred. "Kogan, do you want to kill me this way? That's nonsense. How can you die if you drink supplements?" I grabbed her fox hands and shouted, "Nuyen, what are you pretending to be? How can you die if you drink the tonic?" Lu Nuyen ignored me and closed her eyes. She lay on the bed, her whole body was hot but she was sweating coldly. His face grimaced in suffering, biting his lip so hard that it bled. Both charming, but also extremely uncomfortable. Seeing this, I panicked a bit. This is the main female character. If something really happened to her, the mission would force me to die. Is she really about to die? Why? I pulled Nuyen's tail, but she didn't respond, making me even more worried. You won't really die, will you, Nuyen? You can't die. Your life hasn't even begun yet. What should I do if you die? Hearing my voice getting more and more urgent, she slowly opened her eyes and said with difficulty, "This medicine conflicts with my dharma. I haven't fully recovered yet. If I can't cure the toxicity, I'm afraid. I didn't expect to cause such big trouble. The heroine will die in my hands. Why am I so scared that I'm almost about to cry? How to detoxify? You say I am the antidote, so you have to drink my blood and eat my flesh?" I closed my eyes, my heart pounding, trembling, and reached out my hand. "Then do it yourself. I'm afraid of blood." Lu Nuyen looked at me without mercy and grabbed my wrist. Opening my mouth, I closed my eyes, not daring to look. A wet, warm and soft feeling on the fingers. Nuyen is licking my fingers. She inherently hates me. Now that things have turned out like this, there is a high possibility that I will have to say goodbye to my right hand, my friend for the past 10 years. Just when I thought I was about to be eaten alive, she pulled her heart, beating very fast, and whispered in my ear. "I don't want those things. I want to be close to you." Hearing this, I widened my eyes, my face turned red, and stammered, This isn't very good. If you don't do this, will you really die?" Lu Nuyen was silent. I thought for a moment, then wrapped my arms around her. "Okay, let's do it. As long as you're still alive," I risked my life to save the heroine's life. To survive, the heroine must also fight with all her might. She pushed me down on the bed, hugged me, and tortured me endlessly. I was so confused that I didn't know what heaven and earth were. Under the effects of the drug, her body was as hot as fire, completely unlike the original noble and cold heroine. It is true that foxes are related to dogs. She bit and licked me all night long. He even used his 9 large tails to wrap around me, making it impossible for me to escape. Not losing money and still being able to enjoy Chaolan flowers like Lu Nuyen is a great bargain. Finally, I was so tired that I fell asleep. What a cruel fox. The next morning, I was awakened by the deafening sound of the system. "Host, wake up. What have you done?" I woke up bewildered and discovered I was still hugging tightly. Lu Nuyen was in my arms, her soft furry tail surrounding me, extremely warm. "What's wrong, host? How could you? The system beeped. "I'm a bit confused, but if I don't do this, she will die." The system was angry. "She's just about to beep, and she's also being fed beep by the host, so that's all." The system is angry, even though it doesn't know what to do. "Host, I told you, she won't be able to stand it anymore. If the host doesn't run away, she will beep." I wondered, "What the hell are you talking about?" The system was silent for a long while, then weakly said, "Host, good luck." I was surprised and replied, "I knew she would soon escape, seriously injure me, and then take crazy revenge on me." The system said, "No, now, she just wants to beep you like crazy." I was startled. This part is hidden as much as possible. Look at how well I completed my mission. Lu Nuyen is an arrogant flower, but now I have hurt her both physically and mentally. She probably hates me even more now. The system remained silent, saying nothing. Before going offline, I was frustrated and cursed this damn ban system. I must remove it. Lu Nuyen said that, because of her martial arts and physical condition, those supplements were poisonous to her. These toxins will be stored in the body and attack periodically. If I don't want her to die, I have to regularly detoxify her. Obviously I just wanted to follow the plot, so I gave Lu Nuyen so many supplements. Unexpectedly, it almost killed her. Suddenly, I felt very guilty. I had no other choice but to take responsibility to the end. Lu Nuyen has sex very often, blood and energy are terrifyingly abundant. From then on, I couldn't bully Lu Nuyen anymore. I pulled her collar, and she hugged my waist. I grabbed her ear and scolded her, but she deliberately rubbed her face into my hand. I forced her to eat the leftovers, but she even held my hand first and used her tongue to snatch the food from my mouth. I stepped on her tails, then she grabbed my ankles and forced me to caress all over my body. I played with her tail, and she used her tail to wrap it around me and said, "There's a saying, do you know, the tail is a place that cannot be touched casually." How do I know this? Then, those tails wrapped around my limbs. As for humiliating Lu Nuyen, she is now used to it and sees it as a reward that I give her. I hugged my aching waist, feeling like something wasn't quite right. This is not the arrogant flower with pure Tan Nok appearance. Why is it like a hungry lake? Surely because there is no one, Lu Nuyen does not need to maintain an image. Because when it's just the two of us, I can't do anything to her, so I'll make her lose face in front of everyone. I ordered Lu Nuyen to transform into her original form and become my mount. Lu Nuyen, in the end, was still under my control, obediently turning into a pure white fox. Look, I can still punish her. I triumphantly rode on Lu Nuyen back and walked proudly around the house. Everyone praised my extraordinary talent and excellent methods, because I had tamed the Fox King. But no one knew that I was having a great time riding her during the day. But at night, my waist and legs get weak from being ridden by her. Oh my God, when is she going to leave? The Immortal Cultivation Conference begins. According to the plot, Lu Nuyen has now escaped. As for me, after being seriously injured by her, I immediately became angry, being a cruel man. Initially, I intended to ride Lu Nuyen to attend the conference, surprising the whole 22TN world. After she escaped, I furiously tamed a little princess of the wolf tribe that I had just captured as a temporary mount. This little princess of the wolf tribe is the second female protagonist in the plot, completely devoted to the male protagonist. When she was tortured and humiliated, she absolutely hated me. Currently, the little princess of the wolf tribe has been captured. The heroine doesn't run away, but the plot must continue. There was no other way. I had to bring the second female lead, Tamo So, home. Tamo So is wild, unruly, has sharp eyes, bronze skin full of wounds, has a wild style, completely different from Lu Nuyen. Oh my, it's also a special flavor. Tamo So is not cold and distant like Lu Nuyen. Even though she was locked in a cage and covered in blood, when she saw me, she still arrogantly shouted, "Don't think that by capturing me you can make me submit." Using the same old process, I threw her into Ninghua Lake. 3 days later, I brought the iron necklace and brought Tamo So back. Along the way, she kept shouting, "Don't think that I will be grateful to you. I, Tamo, will starve to death, even if I die on the street. I won't eat a piece of yours." Yeah, I feel like it's too noisy. Just nonchalantly nodded to let it go. Suddenly, I felt appreciative of Lu Nuyen quietness again. At least she is a quiet beauty. When I took Tamo So inside, Lu Nuyen also walked out of the bedroom and encountered us. Her red eyes seemed to shrink, her sharp gaze immediately locked on me. The whole body's aura becomes strong and scary. Cold voice, old saying, "Who is she?" Lu Nuyen looked like she wanted to eat me. Suddenly, I don't know why I feel a little guilty. Bap said, "It has nothing to do with you." Tamo So smiled and said, "I've always wondered why you have the scent of a fox on you. What did this fox do to you?" Or my face turned red up to my ears and I put my hand over her mouth. "I order you to shut up." My hand was suddenly grabbed in midair. Lu Nuyen quietly pulled me into the bedroom. Seeing that, Tamo So was a little curious and wanted to follow to find out what happened. Lu Nuyen immediately used his tail to whip her, causing her to lie on the ground, vomiting blood. As soon as she closed the door, Nuyen fiercely asked me, "Kogan, can I satisfy you?" In front of me, "Did you calmly go find someone else? What happened to that smelly wolf?" Lu Nuyen deserves to be the king of the lake. His temperament is cold and quiet, but now this solemn and powerful beauty is terrifying. She was clearly a demon beast that I had tamed, but now I was scared of her. I patted Nuyen's face. "What are you angry about?" Lu Nuyen was stunned when I hit her in the face for the first time. I panicked and wanted to run away, but she held me tight. She wrapped her arms around my waist, held my hand, and licked it loosely. "Does it hurt?" I shook my head gently and said, "It doesn't hurt, but don't be so cruel to me in the future." Lu Nuyen kissed my palm again and said, "Sorry." I was surprised, my eyes widened, and I turned to look at her. With her hand still hidden on her cheek, the cold, noble female lead is actually apologizing to me. Lu Nuyen still refused to let it go, and asked again, "Why did you bring her back? Isn't having me enough? I am the Lake King, didn't you always say you wanted to take me out to save face?" I sweated profusely at her questions. "Help me, this story is really strange." I could only swallow my saliva and say, "But Tamo So is the little princess of the wolf clan. Among the entire family, only I am worthy of taming her." Lu Nuyen sighed helplessly and said, "You are indeed in good health. Even though I rode you all night, you still have the strength to find someone else during the day." I was so embarrassed that my face turned red and I quickly covered her mouth. "Hey, don't talk nonsense. Good demon beasts shouldn't say such things. You are the 9 white fox, noble, pure. How can you say such rude words?" But right after that, my palm was gently licked by her tongue, making me startle and withdraw my hand. Nuyen said again, "Kogan, I know you want to show off at the 2TN conference. Without Tamo So, I can also make you the most prominent person. I don't know what Lu Nuyen plans to do. I can only guess that she will most likely have a big fight at the 2TN conference." I kept calling the system to ask, but it kept hiding and refused to appear. After capturing Tamo So, Lu Nuyen became a big dog, and she became a small dog. Initially, I wanted to tame Tamo So according to the story, but Lu Nuyen repeatedly hindered me, not allowing me to train her. Tamo So was not obedient at all and always called me a monster. I looked in the mirror, feeling a bit sad. I am a male villain, In addition, my personality is very domineering and unruly, not at all pure and kind like the male lead. The more I compare myself with Lu Nuyen, a pure and elegant beauty, the more I feel like I'm not on the same level. Currently, things have arisen between me and Lu Nuyen that shouldn't have happened, but I know that she only pretended to be kind to me because she wanted to detox, just like how she had after turning black. Surely she already hated me to the core. I hugged my pillow and sat by the lake. Tamoso jumped down from the tree and asked, "You monster, what are you doing?" I glared at her. "Little dog, it's none of your business." She immediately laughed. "Is your big dog disobedient?" "It's useless, she can't even be a mount. She is the lake king, respected by everyone. If you humiliate her like that, she will definitely hate you to death. Kogan, if she refuses to accompany you to the congregation, I can be your mount. However, we have one condition." Tamoso waved his finger at me. I didn't expect such a good thing to happen, so I walked closer. Suddenly she lifted her lips, smiled evilly, her breath blew into my ear. "You can't be partial to the rewards she has, I want them too." I was just about to ask what she was talking about when I heard her scream and fall to the ground. Lu Nuyen's tail swung up, cold eyes looking at her. Tamoso angrily rushed to attack Nuyen. They started fighting each other in the yard. I looked at the precious flowers being destroyed. I was heartbroken. I jumped up. "Don't fight anymore, don't fight anymore." I don't even know why they fought. In the end, it was only possible to press the seal and activate their upper chains. Tamoso lay on the ground, unable to move, and was beaten several more times by Lu Nuyen. She was so angry that she shouted, "Kogan, you are so biased." I am not biased, nor do I understand why Lu Nuyen can still move under the restraint of the chain. As I was about to explain, Lu Nuyen hugged me from behind and said condescendingly, "Kogan, you're favoring me." Tamoso's wolf eyes stared at Nuyen as if wanting to bite her into pieces. I was still dreaming when Lu Nuyen pulled me into her room. She hugged me tightly, her expression cold, but her cheeks were red. Gently said, "Kogan, you can't ride her, you can only ride me, day and night, do you hear me?" What a strange request. I blushed and nodded bewilderedly. Nuyen spoke very well, but on the day of the 2TN conference, she disappeared. I feel very sad. Certainly, everything will still happen according to the story. Therefore, I can only bring Tamoso to the 2TN conference. According to the story of this 2TN conference, Lu Nuyen, the female protagonist, has returned to her original noble status after escaping, but she is no longer the cold and noble king of the lake. On the outside she still looks elegant and pure, but on the inside she has become bloodthirsty and completely turned black. Her heart is filled with the darkness of revenge, and the one who saves her is the good, kind male protagonist. The first person to shine at the 2TN conference, he will also rescue Tamoso, the second female lead who has been humiliated by me in every way. In this 2TN conference, Matadoibi, after a short period of glory, my reputation will be completely ruined, as an evil villain. I knew it was time for me to leave. "Kogan, where's your big dog?" Tamoso smiled and said, "Every day I'm haunted by its sweat. I thought you guys cared for each other a lot, but you still left me. Right now, I'm the only one left with you." I took a breath and scolded her. "Well, just a little nonsense. It's time for me to show up." Tamoso still asked me, "Kogan, if you want me to be your mount, please ask me. I will absolutely never bow to this little dog." Immediately said, "If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Tamoso, I don't need it anymore." Having finished speaking, I personally stepped onto the high platform of the Congress. No matter how bad other demon tamers are, they all have a small demon as a mount. Only I, the eldest young master of the Ko family, have nothing. Just as taunts and gossip about me were heard below, suddenly there was a giant white fox standing in front of me with 9 large tails growing from its back. In the world, there is only one Lake King Lu Nuyen, the 9-tailed white fox. Now she knelt down in front of me again, volunteering to be my mount. Immediately, the entire 2TN conference was in an uproar. In front of so many people, how could I dare to ride her? He tried desperately to pull her ears. Nguyen, what are you doing? The morning is gone, why come back? I don't need your pity. I refused. Lu Nguyen had no choice but to transform into human form. She had changed into her simple white outfit and was no longer wearing the devilish clothes I had given her. Lu Nguyen has returned to being the arrogant, pure flower of the past, but still wears the crystal necklace that I gave her. Why are you still wearing this? I'm afraid she will be humiliated because of this. Even more stressed than her. Anyway, it's okay to be humiliated by me, but not to others. Lu Nguyen came closer to me and sniffed. Good, there's no smell of that foul-mouthed wolf. What the hell are you doing here? To mock me? Lu Nguyen suddenly said loudly, I, King Ho Lu Nguyen, come here to ask for your hand in marriage to the eldest young master of the Ko family. The sound of the proposal echoed throughout the entire congregation, shocking all the monks in the audience. The entire Tu Tien conference immediately exploded. A pure demon family like the Gu family always feels that too much love is inferior to humans and will never tolerate their children taking too much love. They stood up one by one, flicked their beards, glared and sternly protested. Right when I was most confused, the system kept ringing. This time, the system finally appeared. Welcome host. The forbidden word system has been completely removed. Host can speak freely. What the hell is going on? What should I do now? The plot has changed according to the story. The system said, the host should loudly reject and severely humiliate the heroine in public to ensure the heroine's darkening value. But Lu Nguyen shines brightly, like a fairy descending to earth. Sparkling eyes looked at me. I looked at her in my heart, determined that I didn't want to follow the main male story. Why hasn't he appeared yet? The system was silent again. I sighed helplessly. The elders of the Ko family simultaneously applied pressure. Ko Yen, if you go with this fox demon today, you will no longer be a descendant of our Ko family. Lu Nguyen looked at me, her eyes complicated but full of regret. I took a deep breath, gritted my teeth and looked at her. What the hell are you looking at? Her eyes darkened, revealing a moment of pain and disappointment. It's so uncomfortable to see this look. I snorted coldly, held Lu Nguyen's hand tightly, and told the Ko family members clearly, let's go, it's just a family that serves a demon. Every time we do horrible things, it makes us feel nauseous to look at. I haven't wanted to stay for a long time. Nguyen, let's go. Lu Nguyen was stunned but immediately held my hand tightly, a light smile appeared on her usually cold face, like ice melting and snow melting, spring wind turning into rain. After Lu Nguyen and I left, I heard that the male lead suddenly appeared at the Immortal Cultivating Conference. Only later did I hear the truth from the system that the male lead said he was not a bodhisattva and did not like the crazy female lead. If you have a disease, find a way to cure it yourself. He was determined to follow the path of a single hero. I persuaded him in every way, but he just conveniently saved Tamo So and took her back to the wolf tribe. After rescuing Tamo So, they exposed all the crimes that the Ko family had committed against the Ko family's monsters. From then on, the Ko family declined. I hugged Lu Nguyen Big Tail and asked the system, that's right, what are those words you couldn't say before? The system slowly replied, I want to say that it is absolutely not a blackening value. Her estrus period is approaching, she will soon be unable to control it anymore. If the host does not run away immediately, she will fall in love with her to death. She has just entered an animalistic state because the estrus period is approaching, and was also given supplements by the host, so she became like that. Finally, after the forbidden word system was removed, it let go of everything in my heart, leaving only me bewildered. So she wasn't poisoned and won't die. Quan used me to do those things many times, saying it was detoxification, torturing me even more miserably, killing millions of lives at once, all of it a lie. Dear host. I angrily threw the tail in my hand and pinched Lu Nguyen's ear, frustrated. Lu Nguyen, you are an evil fox. Besides the story about Lu Nguyen, after being seriously injured, I was locked in a giant cage. As the late king, noble and noble, I have never suffered such humiliation. This is a notorious demon beast taming family. Even though I love my clan, no matter how noble they are, once they fall here, they will be treated like lowly beasts. As soon as I entered the Gu family, because I refused to talk, I was beaten and severely disciplined. His clothes were tattered, his whole body was soaked in blood, he sat quietly in a large cage. I, a person who has always been excellent, is now in an unprecedented state of sleaze. Then, I heard the bossy voice of the great young master of the Ko family, and his name was also vulgar, Kogan. He walked over, but then criticized and left immediately. I bowed my head in silence, thinking it was just someone coming to torment me. But unexpectedly, he threw me straight into Ninhua Lake and soaked it for 3 days and 3 nights. Ninhua Lake was originally a holy place to heal monsters who were tortured to death. Just soaking for an hour was enough to survive, not to mention I was there for 3 days and 3 nights. When I got out of the lake, my wound was almost completely healed, with only a few deep wounds that needed to be slowly treated. Kogan put a crystal necklace on me and led me home. He is very handsome but domineering and stubborn. My eyes must wear moral clothes. Otherwise, I won't be given any clothes to wear. He calmly flirted with me, played with me, and even forced me to turn into a bed warmer every night. Until now, I have never been so close to anyone, but I was still forced to do it. At first, I felt extremely humiliated and disgusted, hating him to the core. But soon, I discovered that even if Kogan teased me, if I followed his wishes and took one step further, he would blush and run away madly. Turns out he's just a gangster. Suddenly, I felt quite interesting again. Kogan ordered me to eat the things I couldn't finish, most of which were delicacies, not something prisoners like me could enjoy. Kogan never tortured me like the others. The heaviest tortures are just gentle shocks, as gentle as a cat scratching, making people feel restless. On the outside, Kogan seems arrogant, dangerous and cruel, but in reality he is weak, stupid, easily deceived, and extremely soft. His biggest sin is repeatedly creating the fire of desire, but then gently retreating, running faster than a rabbit. It makes people want it so much, but I'd rather die than let them touch it. It is truly a torture. I was so provoked by him that I went into heat. The fox tribe will only do this when they meet the person they love. If it weren't for my ability to control myself well, Kogan would definitely have been eaten by me a long time ago. It seemed that Kogan had no intention of holding me back and was always quietly checking to see if I had recovered or not. His every move and word hinted that I could leave, but this made me unhappy. My wound had long since healed, I only needed a slight tug on my finger to get rid of the necklace, but I didn't want to leave. Does Kogan just want to chase me away? Why? Didn't he really like me before? Every night he hugged my body to sleep. But recently, Kogan doesn't let me sleep with him anymore. Has he ever felt that I was dangerous and started to become afraid? I felt strangely restless, unable to control myself and wanting to possess Kogan. At night, she climbed into his bed again, licked, kissed and bit him. But he's still stupid and doesn't realize anything. So silly, but also so cute. If he accidentally encountered another bad guy, he didn't know what he would do. Until Kogan couldn't stand it anymore, he took a handful of elixir and stuffed it straight into my mouth. For the first time in my life, I tricked my mind, threatened him with my life, and tricked him into agreeing to let me be close. I knew right away, Kogan really cared about me. Then, I relied on the need to detoxify to have sex with him many times. It seems I have become a loyal dog to Kogan.